Fellow Cameroonians at home and abroad, Anglophones and Francophones, is Cameroon ready for change? The position of PRAP is no, Cameroon is not yet ready for change. And I'm going to explain to you people why. Let us talk about the hard truth we see today in Cameroon. And an example of this daily brief today is the issue of Issa Tchiroma, who have been barred from leaving Cameroon. He was almost arrested based on the information we hear. We cry for justice. We shout about dictatorship. We say Paul Biya must go. We sing it in songs. We hope in our heart when people die or presidents die, we wish it was Paul Biya who died. But when someone from within his regime, within his system, dares to walk away, we attack them instead of embracing them because we suffer from groupism as Cameroonians, whether you are Anglophone or Francophone. Our experience in the Anglophone Amazonian uprising have taught us a lot about ourselves. Look again in what has happened with Issa Tchiroma and how events have unfolded to see how Cameroon is or whether Cameroon can actually change, because that change comes from the people, not just the government. For years, Issa Tchiroma was the loudest voice in the Paul Biya's regime. Even before Atanganji come, defending the regime, he stood by Biya, even at the darkest moment, at the beginning of the Anglophone crisis. In every crisis, he stood by Biya. And now, he has resigned. He left the government. That alone should have shaken the system. It does. It shakes the system to its core. It should have, and it did. It was supposed to be seen as a big blow to Paul Biya's grip in power. And there were many members in the Cameroon government, naturally, who would look at that particular move and ask a lot of questions. They could follow suit. But what happened? What did many Cameroonians do on social media? What did many Maurice Kamto supporters do on social media? Instead of seeing it as a crack in the regime's armor, which was a crack in the regime's armor, they turned Issa Tchiroma and called him a traitor, an agent of the regime who have resigned not because he wants to condemn Paul Biya or that the regime is cracking or there are cracks in the armor of Paul Biya, but they turn it and accuse him of resigning for the sole purpose of dividing the opposition and to sabotage Maurice Kamto, that he resigned because he wants to run for elections so that he will reduce the popularity of Maurice Kamto, reduce votes for Maurice Kamto, and neutralize the effect of the opposition. They said it was a setup, that he is still playing for Paul Biya. What does that do? It sends a message to the members who the cracks in the regime that if you dare leave the regime, if you dare betray Paul Biya, you will not be embraced by Cameroonians. You will be tagged as a traitor. This kind of thinking is dangerous and is what has kept Cameroon where it is and keep Paul Biya strong in power, no shaking. It discourages those inside the system who might be watching and may be thinking, maybe I should speak out. Maybe I should sabotage the government. Maybe I should do something. And the population will stand with me. The activists will stand with me. The social media influencers will stand with me. Opinion shapers will stand with me. But they will look at Issa Tchiroma. Look at him in his interview. He said, what can I do to make you believe me? Because even a man like Issa Tchiroma, who took huge political risk to step away, is instead treated as a traitor, not embraced by the main opposition party's supporters, the main opposition party's activists, the main opposition platform. Instead of taking it as a turning point, that would then what would happen to incentivize others within the regime if we don't do that? Is Cameroon ready for change? Look at Issa Tchiroma. Today, he's being targeted by the same regime, by the same Pobia that you claim he was working for. He has been barred from traveling. He was almost arrested. He can still be arrested or killed. But even Pobia will look at the reactions of Cameroon and say, maybe, let us just let it go. The very regime he once defended is now coming after him. That should be something for you to think about it. He's no longer in their good books. Make no mistake. But instead of standing in solidarity with him, we are doubting him. Generally, I say we as a population, because we have a collective mindset. There is a lot of doubt. Let me ask you one question, and I wish I could speak in French for this particular message. If every act of courage against Pobia is dismissed as manipulation by the greater population, how do you think change can come? Because the population opinion and capacity to reason is the political capital that brings about change in any country. If you give Pobia credit, even when he is at his lowest points, you make him invincible. If you turn every resignation into a conspiracy and every opinion which is out of your group into a conspiracy, if you accuse everyone who speaks up against Pobia as received bribery, sabotage without any shred of evidence, even when indications are of the contrary, then you have made Pobia the invincible lion that he presents himself to be. Your doubts, your inability to reason is the strength of Pobia. You help the regime survive. You are killing the hope before it even gives breath. That is the reality of the demography in Cameroon. And those are the theses that we in PRAP base our calculation on to say Cameroon is not ready for change. Real change, real potential for change will require a shift in the mindset. And that is the job of political activists. We must stop weaponizing suspicion. We must stop attacking those who take bold steps, even if they once stood at the side of the regime. No revolution no takeover or change has ever succeeded by eating its own and empowering the regime or the persons they seek to destroy or to bring down. Let us be clear. Pobia's power is not just in a 2D. His power, his true power, is your doubt, your lack of capacity to governize behind strength that is required to bring down Pobia. Those strengths are often in people like Issa Tchiroma and many people like him. If you can't use those strengths, you'll be defeated because Pobia's armor is quite strong. Your division, your inability to unite as opposition, as people who wants change, is the strength of Bia. You don't have to trust everybody or every politician, but you must recognize when the system is shaking, recognize those who have potential to bring it down, recognize those who are in better mental, knowing on how things work to be able to bring them together to bring down a change that you need. Cameroon is not yet ready to change, for change. And this is based on these calculations that I've presented to you. But it can be if we do the hard work, which is what we are doing in PRAP, and we call on all Cameroonians to do, all activists to do. We must drop paranoia. We must stop glorifying division and groups over at the expense of the common and national interests. We must start seeing political courage for what it truly is. It takes a lot of different people, different groups to come together or to be able to unite the population behind one movement for any significant change to take place. Let us be the generation that builds that capacity, not the one that always suspect and destroy any hope before it even breathes. The groupism is eating Cameroon. If you are in Maurice Kamto group or you consider yourself his supporter, it limits you to embrace other groups, other political potential people. And that is the problem. And that is Paul Biya's strength. Unless groups like Maurice Kamto, his supporters, activists who throw their back behind him, journalists who throw their weight behind him, influencers who throw their weight behind him, people who hope in him can be capable of embracing other people like Tchiroma, embracing other actors wholeheartedly without indulging in such conspiracy, such paranoia, without any shred of evidence. Unless that capacity is there, change will be elusive to all Cameroonians. If you watch me, make sure you like this video and share it, and support PRAP's vision that can bring pragmatic and real change in Cameroon. Real change. What about people like Kawala? She was right about many things. Do you think Maurice Kamto can acknowledge Kawala's position? Cameroon is a place where journalists are interviewing journalists. In our own Anglophone region, instead of interviewing people who are opinion shapers. That's why sometimes they even turn and ask me for, are you a political activist or you are a journalist? Because everybody want to be everything. Unless we realize the power of collectivism, the power to be able to come together and put the public interest ahead of group interest, ahead of personality interest. Unless we build that capacity in our population, Cameroon will not be ready for change. But we can do it. We believe in it. And we continue to campaign and push for it in our advocacy in PRAP. God bless you all. Have a wonderful day.